This my fourth USA team. I played two 3-on-3 teams and two 5-on-5 teams. It's my second time with Coach Boynton as an assistant coach. And we just enjoying the time together and just really getting to know each other and having fun with new players and playing with the best of the best and against the best of the best. So it's been a fun ride so far. We already won 2 games, and we got a long road ahead of us to get to the gold medal. So it's just stacking days. That's it.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed this. This is my third straight year participating with USA basketball. Something I've always kind of hoped to be able to do. I see it as such a prestigious and opportunity and such an honor to represent our country. And so I'm thankful to Sean Ford and Matt Painter, who's the chair of the committee, who actually reached out and invited. Thankful to Tad Boyle, who's the head coach of Colorado, for allowing me to work with him. And obviously I'm thankful to the players that we have. It's a huge commitment for these kids. A lot of them are on different paths and different parts of their careers. And for them to choose to come represent the country and try to win a gold medal and represent for all of us is truly special. So I'm thankful to be here. We got off to a good start on Saturday, and then we played a game yesterday. It was probably closer than any of us wanted it to be, but found a way to win. And what we know is this competition is probably the best international competition for the junior national level, right? Because you got all the world's best, not just like last year was just the Americas. So we've seen some different types of competition, and it gives us a chance to see how much we can grow and get better in a short amount of time.
Well, this being a small group, rather than over moderate this thing, I'll just let the three of you kind of take it from a Q&A standpoint, whatever direction you want.
Can we get Jason to at least introduce himself? I'm not sure I'm familiar. Jason?
Yeah, you're familiar with me, Coach.
Yeah.
Jason. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
good.
Sorry. I'm just kind of in the background recording now.
All good. Thanks.
Sorry, so really just the two of you.
Yeah, sorry.
I wasn't sure who Jason was either, so don't feel bad. Mike and Eric, both of you guys could both answer this. Just, you guys have known each other for a long time and have been really close. Just, what is this experience like being together, and how about your relationship too?
Yeah, I'll start there. I knew Eric. I tell Eric this. I've told him this a few times. I knew him before he knew him. Mom was obviously an assistant coach and a great basketball player herself. Still running now the women's program at IMG, and so when I was a player at South Carolina, she was working there on the women's staff. And a few years after I got to school, Eric was born. So been following him because of that relationship. His dad actually was playing overseas at the time and would come back and play with a lot of the South Carolina alumni and guys from the Columbia area in the summertime. And I was obviously a young guy at the time and got a chance to watch and get to know Big Eric when he was still a professional basketball player himself. So I've got really strong ties to the family. I have unbelievable respect for the way they've gone about raising him. And he's obviously a kid who's worked himself into being a really good basketball player. But the thing I feel more confident and looking forward to is just being around him as a person. He's a tremendous ambassador. He's got a sense of maturity about himself that'll give him a chance to have a major impact on our program from day one. Winning is a priority to him. Obviously, he's got some personal goals that he wants to achieve, but I appreciate the fact that he's so dedicated to his craft and to his teams. In fact, so much so that he knew he was going to do USA basketball during this month. So he actually came to Stillwater for the month of May and spent some time with our strength coach and spent some time with our coaches and in our gym, getting familiar, moved in. So he used the time that our guys are getting now last month. And obviously he knows a lot of those guys. And so it's just been a joy to watch this whole process. But what I tell him all the time is, you can't skip steps. You got to enjoy every part of the process. You got to understand it's hard work that's going to require to get you where you want to go. But we feel like our program provides the opportunity that he's looking for, but also that our program needed a guy like him, to come in and be able to help us, compete in the Big 12 next year.
Yeah, like Coach Boynton was saying, he knew me before I knew myself, and now I've been realizing that he's telling me things that I didn't know by myself as well as we've been here, and just being around me, just noticing little things that I can work on from a leadership standpoint, and from for a player on and off the court as well. And I chose Oklahoma State because of Coach. I see how he did other guys before me, and I feel like he has what I need, and the school has what I need, and it's just a good opportunity for me to just advance myself as a player and a person. And I just feel like, being here is going to Stillwater for a month before really helped me. That month, it's a short amount of time, but I really learned a lot so far, and just getting adjusted to, where I'm going to be at for the next 12 months. And, I'm just having fun with the basketball part. Just, keep learning every day. That's my biggest thing. I just want to advance as a person and as a player on and off the court. Just keep learning, because, I'm young, but I got so much to learn, and I'm just really grateful to have a coach like that.
How did you come up with the idea to go to Stillwater early?
You said what?
How did you come up with the idea to go to Stillwater early?
So I graduated last year in 2022. So I didn't have graduation this year. So I just asked Coach what was the earliest time I can get up there and just get adjusted. And he said May. So I was on the first thing flying out there to Stillwater. And I was by myself. And it just kind of gave me a feel of how it would be, just being out there without my teammates and, being out there in the summer. And, it gave me time to really just hone in on my skills and lock in and just grind. I probably didn't leave the gym. I probably didn't go to – I went to the gym every day for the 4 weeks I was there. And I didn't miss a day. I'm texting Coach Boynton every day talking about, I'm in the gym working right now. And, it just gave me a chance to be with the strength coach, Coach Mark, just lifting, getting stronger, working on my body. And I already saw changes within the month I was there. And I know that if I keep working, it's only going to be up from there. So.
Yeah, Eric, you mentioned kind of taking the post-grad year and stuff like that. It seems like professional basketball is the future you envision for yourself. So what about Mike and Oklahoma State made you think that was the right avenue for you?
I think the coach is important. That was always my thing. It didn't matter what school or where you was at. I always been taught if you're good, they're going to find you. So wherever you can go, I had, offers from other schools as well. But I just felt like Coach Boynton could really take my game to the next level and, pour into me, and I can really learn from his mind and teach me how to be a leader. That was the one thing he's been stressing to me, is just be a leader. Even though I'm one of the youngest on the team coming in, I can still lead from on court, vocally, lead by example. You can lead in many different ways. And, like he said, he know me before I know myself. So he know the abilities I have. And he probably was going to unlock more things that I know I didn't have, and know I had. So I'm just trusting him with myself, and I'm just going to put in the work, and I just listen. That's the main thing. So.
And then for both of you guys, Hungary's not necessarily a tourist destination. I wouldn't think. That's not like the first place that I think of whenever I think of going on a vacation. So what is it like being there? What have you guys learned about the place?
You can go first, Coach.
Because this is his second trip here. So
my third time.
Oh, his third time. This is my first time. I'll say from my perspective, I'm kind of like you. Like when they told us, I was really excited about the trip, and then I probably wasn't as excited when I knew where we were going. But I've been pleasantly surprised that this is a pretty cool town. It's a very active part of Hungary. We're in Debrecen is I think how they say it. So we're not in Budapest where the big part is, but people are really nice here. It's sort of Americanized, but not totally. Like there's many people speak English here, so that helps when you go out to eat or something like that. It's a very walkable place, so I've been able to exercise a little bit, but I think I'm countering that because their ice cream is really good here. So 2 scoops, like for every meal. Don't tell my wife, she's not watching this, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the food here has been pretty good. It's different from America, but it's been pretty good. Like you said, the people are really nice. I remember coming off after the game last night, just people just waiting for us and signing autographs and taking pictures like we're superstars. And over here we are. So there's been really very welcome feel here, and we just kind of play with that chip on our shoulder with the USA team. So.
Eric, you mentioned this is your 4th Team USA, I think is right. 3-on-3, I didn't. That one kind of escaped me. I didn't realize you were doing 3-on-3 Team USA stuff. But what does it mean for you to keep doing this and have this opportunity to be able to represent Team USA in these various ways?
It means a lot. I mean, I was a kid that didn't get much notoriety or much exposure as a young high school player, and to play on the biggest stage for your country, it just means a lot. This kind of became kind of like my AAU team. I didn't play AAU much, but USA always brought me in to compete at the highest level for a gold medal, and I just took it in as like every time I'm out here, just play like your last game, and I go out there and try to play as hard as I can, try to get my teammates involved and be a good leader since I've been here for a long time. And I've been in this system since sophomore year. And each time I put on this jersey, it brings joy to me. And you see my people smile and making the country proud. That's the best part. So.
Mike, you've been doing this for years now. This is the first time you get to coach one of your players. How unique is that for you?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'll tell a quick story. The first time when I first really started to think about recruiting Eric, it was actually in a USA basketball setting. Obviously, I knew about him, but in 2019, I believe it was, we went out to Colorado Springs for a training camp. And at that training camp, I was actually intently going to see Cade Cunningham, Bryce Thompson. Those guys were at training camp that year. But Eric was one of the really young guys at training camp also that year. And so I actually connected with his dad while he was watching at the time, and I watched him grow and saw the kind of person he was becoming. But I knew he was obviously going to IMG and far away, and I really wasn't thinking about that class much at the time. But that was kind of the start of where I was like, you know what? I like what I've seen in his growth as a basketball player, not just as a person I respected in his family. But for me, just being a part of USA basketball, to Eric's point, such a point of pride. And when you walk around the facility or at the hotel and you see the other players that have represented the other countries, right? There's pictures of Luka Doncic. There's pictures of Nick Batum representing France. There's pictures of Jokic representing Serbia. To know that our players, Jason Tatum and Kevin Durant and LeBron, have worn this jersey and have restored really USA basketball over the last decade or so, it's something that we certainly carry with ourselves onto the court. And it was a little unusual to feel like we were actually, I think maybe because we were down, the crowd kind of got behind us. When usually they kind of pull against the USA when you're playing on foreign soil. So it's been a really, really cool experience. Again, I can't thank Sean Ford and Michael Brooks, who's the assistant director, and Matt Painter and Tad for allowing me to be a part of it.
Mike, what's it been like being an assistant again? Is it weird not calling timeouts or things like that?
You know what? This is actually unique. I mean, Tad's super easy to work with. Leon Rice is the other assistant. He's the head coach at Boise State. And I think part of the reason we did this again, because we were the same staff from last year's team, is we just really enjoyed working with one another. I mean, we had such a good time down in Tijuana. And then Tijuana wasn't nearly as nice as Debrecen, Hungary, if you would imagine. So we got to spend a lot more time together, because we were looking out for each other's backs last year. But this has been really, really cool. And being assistant, I mean, it's part of, one of the things is I'm here to help him execute his plan, but more importantly, help these young guys understand what it means to represent USA and to get better. We want to stand on the gold medal stand, But I want all these guys, from having spent this last 2 weeks around me, to feel like there was some value added to them as people or as players.
And then what is it? You mentioned getting to know or having known Eric his whole life, but is there things that as a coach you can only really know about him as you're coaching him?
Yeah. I mean, again, there's some things you just observe after having been around so many different kind of players. You know, how they approach practice or how intently they focus in a scouting report setting. Like, you can't know that until you coach someone. You know, you can know what their skill level is or their ability or athleticism, but you don't know if somebody's serious about the game until you have to tell them, hey, you need to stretch before you go to bed, or you need to ice after the game. And sometimes the guy will look like you, like, man, you don't know what you're talking about. But he's always, you know, he's taken that advice, and he's always, you know, I talked to him about the first night he worked out in Stillwater. Hey, use the cold tub, you know, get those stretching bands, you know, bring the boots, the regeneration. I mean, we have all the resources. That's what you come to a place like Oklahoma State for. So you don't want for those things. And so because we have them, I try to pour into him the advice of take advantage of every opportunity you have to improve yourself, whether it be working out, whether it be recovery, whether it be the way you eat. He's taking most of those things on pretty head on.
And then with as new as your team is going to be this year, you know what you're getting out of BT, you know what you're getting out of Q. Does it kind of help that you're kind of seeing what you can get out of Eric?
Yeah. And in all honesty, it was probably the only slight bit of hesitation I had with doing this. Now, I committed to doing this probably back in December or early January. And at the time, you know, didn't anticipate having as much turnover, you know, in the roster. There was a lot of opportunity for guys to maybe come back. So, but then when it turns to mid-April and you guys are writing every day about how many guys we don't have on the team, you know, I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, should I be going to Coach USA, or, you know, is somebody going to have my office cleaned out when I get back? You know, so, but no, it's been really fun. The one thing that I think that this is going to do for us as a team in Stillwater is my staff, who's really, really well prepared and really, really good. Give them a chance to, you know, accentuate their voices, to really build some rapport with some of the younger guys. I Zoom with the staff once a week. I text with the players on our group text, you know, still fairly regularly. And so our communication, you know, because of technology, has allowed us to stay in touch. But I'm looking forward to getting back and getting with those guys. And on the flip side, the thing that gave me more confidence, I know I'm going to have some practices with those guys as a group later this summer, and a trip to Spain at the beginning of August, which will maybe make up for some of this lost time here.
On a little bit of a different topic, Mike, you mentioned your staff. You promoted Keaton. What went into that, and what does it mean to have a guy like Keaton full-time staff assistant now?
It means I'm lucky. That's what it means. It actually means that you know, Keaton has probably been deserving of this opportunity a couple times now when there's been an opening, and I'm thankful to him that he's stuck it with me for these last 6 years, doing every other job, right, and not batting an eye. He basically became our, you know, quasi ops guy when we lost the position during the COVID, you know, cuts. And he's picked up every responsibility, man, and made it really, really good. And so I'm looking forward to seeing the impact he could have in this role. He's a really, really smart basketball player. And when people ask me about him, I tell them, because I didn't see Keaton play, but I would imagine being around him as a coworker, that the reason he was really good as a player is the same reason he's really good as a professional, you know, coach or worker or whatever, because he takes every task seriously. He wants to prove that he's as good as anybody. He approaches his job with a chip on his shoulder, just like I'm sure he did coming out as a small white kid from Pawnee, Oklahoma, going to Oklahoma State, where people probably didn't think he was good enough to do that. And he's excelled every step of his life. And so, you know, I'm still looking forward to being able to recruit a guy who can shoot better than him. We've had a lot of guys try. They've all tried. No one's beat him yet. I think Eric's probably next when we get back, but Connor Dow's on the list, but he just keeps knocking them down. So Keaton's done a great job, and he keeps making our players have a sense of humility.
Is that the challenge you have for him, to find someone better than him?
Yeah, but he's also, he was a little salty that when I came in as an assistant, we allowed Phil Forte to break his record for 3-point makes. He still kind of holds that against us, but it is what it is.
Mike, how do you see yourself using Eric whenever you guys get back to Stillwater? Is he a four? Is he a wing? Is he all of the above? How do you kind of see?
Yeah, he's a
using it?
really good, complete basketball player. And we've had conversations about this several times. I mean, he's probably as dynamic in terms of versatility, like effective versatility. We've talked about having versatile guys before, but not necessarily with his true skill set, right? At 6'8", what are you weighing, 225 now?
225, 220, yeah.
Okay, 220. He's athletic enough that he can come out on the perimeter and go by guys, right? He's got a really efficient jump shot. He can shoot threes, so he can play off the ball and make help the spacing on the floor. You can play him as a pick and roll ball handler because he's a willing passer and he's got good size to see over defense. But the thing I've challenged him with, and I'm not afraid to say this publicly, is we got to get him better in the mid to low post, right? Because he's big and strong and he's going to be guarded against smaller guys. And one of the ways you become a really efficient scorer is you get yourself to the free throw line. And then you get to the free throw line, you don't have to have as much wear and tear to get the points you need. But he's going to be a guy that we have some offense that we run through him, but we also will run him as the setup man to allow guys like Bryce Thompson to get some open looks. Having Jamal Small, as another primary ball handler would be, have some pretty dynamic playmaking ability amongst the three of them, and then have the other pieces around those guys. This is, I'm really, really excited about them all.
And then Eric, you mentioned this is your third time in Hungary. You've done all this stuff with USA Basketball. You're from Florida. What was that like? Stillwater in the summer is not very robust. So what was there a culture shock for you coming to the middle of America at a time like that?
It wasn't that bad for real because my city is a small city too. It's a small town, and slow motion. There's not a lot going on. I mean, the only thing I didn't get used to is not having the beach 15 minutes from my house. But it's still it's a good place to be when you're trying to focus, and it's not many distractions there, and I feel like that's what you need for a year if you're trying to get to the bigger goal, which is the next level. And I feel like that was just the perfect place to be and just really lock in and stay in the gym, study, do homework, and I've been on top of my stuff just because there's no distractions. It's kind of hard not to get better there, just because it's nothing to do there really. But I feel like when school come back around, it'd be people, and I make friends, and my teammates are there now, which would be better when I go back. So I have people to talk to. But I enjoy Stillwater so far. I like the peace and the calmness. It's really Stillwater for real. So I love it.
I think Mayor Joyce is working on getting some sand by that lake that needs to be renamed.
Oh. There's a couple of lakes out here. There's Carl Blackwell. You got Boomer. You got McMurtry. You got them all.
Second one needs to be renamed.
Eric, what have you kind of thought of? Obviously, with the roster turnover that's happened, you knew of the five or the four other guys that you're coming in with, but how have you kind of seen this roster come together?
I mean, I've been talking to my freshmen coming in. We've been chatting, and I've seen the new guys coming in. And I just trust the coach to finalize a roster. Of course, I mean, we're a Big 12 school, so I mean, I feel like he can get the job done regardless of what was going on. And he found the pieces, and we just gotta go in there and just do the work and listen. And I feel like that's the biggest thing, just trusting coach. If you gotta have a team that trust the coach, anything is possible. So that was the main thing, just trusting coach and listening. I mean, we're gonna get the job done, do what we need to do, and that's pretty much it.
Mike, speaking of roster construction, have you finalized your decision on the last scholarship spot? Are you using it? Have you decided? There's still options out there, obviously. So
there are. They're actually not. This is an age group here that has some possibility. So I'm paying attention to the other games as well. So to answer your question, no. When we'll get there at some point, but I probably wouldn't be comfortable saying that especially with the climate of our game, man, it's just crazy things happen. Crazy things have happened in the last week. So I don't want to commit myself to something that then I have to come back and say I made a boo-boo on.
One more question about KP, Mike. What made now the right time for him?
Yeah, and again, I'll be honest. I think the right time probably was 2 years ago. And I missed the boat there, and I'm thankful that he stayed committed. And we had talks about it the last time that I had some turnover, but it's been overdue. He's been deserving of it, and I look forward to seeing how he now handles that responsibility. Like I said, he's as hard a working person as I've been around. I mean, again, I take really, really great pride in working really hard, and I haven't found a whole lot of people who work harder than me, but he's a guy who matches, what I believe is a high level work ethic, great integrity. Obviously, he loves Oklahoma State, and he's committed to trying to help us find the right guys to continue to put our program in position to be really successful in what will be, again, a really difficult conference moving forward.
You've had a lot of success in the state of Oklahoma, but it seems like every time I talk to a high school player from the state or a coach from the state, they mention KP. How valuable can he be in that aspect?
You can't quantify it. I mean, again, it's probably why I say, we're lucky because you can't replace that. His presence in the state of Oklahoma amongst high school coaches. He's run our camps for the last 3 years. Obviously he's been a great player. His family is a basketball family. So again, I'm thankful to have him. I think he's going to be a tremendous asset in his new role as he has been in his old role. I think him with Coach Kason, with Coach Rencher, with Scott, I think our staff's going to be well equipped to help this young team really transition, maybe in a way that some people don't anticipate early on.